All right, today we're jumping into a wonderful little fable called The Honest Sparrow and the Magical Grain. Now, on the surface, it seems like a pretty simple story, right? But it actually gets at a really big question about what honesty is truly worth.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think a single, tiny little grain could actually change your entire life? I know, it sounds a bit out there, but that one question is what this whole story is built around. Let's dig in and see what happens.
Okay, so every good story needs a hero, right? Well, it's time to meet ours, a very hardworking little sparrow.
And here she is, meet Chinky. She might just be a small sparrow, but trust me, her character is what gives this story all of its power.
So let's paint a picture of Chinky's world. She lives in this beautiful, lush green forest. But her life is really defined by two key things. She is incredibly hardworking, and she is just fundamentally honest. And look, her life is not easy. Every single day, it's a grind, just a constant search for enough food to bring home to her kids. You know, it's on one of these totally normal, average days, as she's out looking for food, that something completely unexpected happens. Something that is about to change, well, everything.
So Chinky is pretty far from home, searching for anything she can find, when she spots it. Something spectacular. It's not just a regular piece of seed. It's this single, shining golden grain. I mean, could you just picture that? Glowing right there in the middle of the field. Wow.
And what's the very first thing that pops into her head? It's not about her. It's about her family. She just thinks, wow, my children are going to eat well today. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about it, right? Just a pure moment of relief for a mom who's trying to provide. But right as she's about to grab this amazing find, the whole scene just changes. The owner of the field, an old farmer, shows up. And just like that, we have our conflict. The joy is gone. Now there's tension in the air.
And here we go. This is the moment. The entire story really comes down to this, a direct test of Chinky's honesty. Her character, everything she stands for, is about to be put to the test.
The farmer, he's actually pretty gentle about it. He explains that this isn't just any grain. He even calls her daughter, which is kind of nice. And then he drops the bombshell. That grain is magical. It's what protects his entire field. So all of a sudden, the stakes are way, way higher than just one meal.
So, what does Chinky do? Does she argue? Does she try to make a run for it? Nope. Her reaction is instant. She puts the grain right back down and says, "I had no idea it was yours. I would never want to steal." Absolutely no hesitation. Just pure, simple honesty.
And with that, she passes the test with flying colors. And that one simple, honest act, well, it leads us right to the powerful conclusion of this story, the reward you get for telling the truth.
You know, the farmer isn't mad at all. In fact, he's impressed. He sees her integrity, her character, and he praises her for it. He even says that honesty is the greatest virtue there is. So her choice didn't just prevent a fight, it actually earned her genuine respect.
And that respect, it comes with some pretty amazing rewards. First, the farmer takes care of her immediate problem. He gives her a ton of regular grain for her kids. But then, he gives her something so much more valuable, a magical blessing that will keep her children healthy always. I mean, think about that for a second. She gave up one magical grain, and in return, she got a magical gift that would last a lifetime. And the story doesn't even stop there. Chinky flies home and tells her kids everything that happened. Her actions, her choice, it becomes a real-life lesson for them. And they promise to always be honest, just like her. It just goes to show how one person's integrity can have this amazing ripple effect, creating a legacy.
So let's bring it all home. What's the big takeaway from this fable? What's the one major lesson we're supposed to get from Chinky's incredible day?
Well, at its core, this is a story all about honesty. And we're not just talking about not stealing. We're talking about that deeper quality of integrity, right? It's about doing the right thing even when you think no one's looking, or when taking a shortcut would be so much easier. And Chinky, she is the perfect example of that. And that brings us to the ultimate moral of the story. Being honest will always, always lead to a good outcome. Now look, in real life, the reward might not be a magical blessing from a farmer. It might not be that instant, but the principle the story tells us always holds true.
You can really break Chinky's whole journey down into a simple 4-step path. First, you work hard. Then you face a choice and you make the right one.
You act with honesty. And finally, you get the reward. The story really lays it out there as a kind of simple but really powerful blueprint for a good life.
And that brings us to the end, where I want to turn the question back to you. After hearing Chinky's story, what does honesty really mean to you in your own life? And what kind of rewards, big or small, have you found come from it? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me today.